If you're over 60 and you've ever jolted awake at 2 a.m. with a sharp pain seizing your calf, if you've stood at the kitchen sink and suddenly your leg locks up without warning, if you've ever gripped the edge of a chair, breathing through the fire, twisting through your muscle, waiting for it to stop, then you know what I'm talking about. Leg cramps. The kind that hit without mercy. The kind that leave you sore the next day. The kind that no one else seems to understand until it happens to them. And if you've been told it's just part of getting older, or just drink more water, then let me tell you the truth. It's not just age. It's not just dehydration. It's not just bad luck. In fact, what if I told you there are 5 common foods you probably have in your kitchen right now, that are quietly making your leg cramps worse? Foods that look innocent, even healthy. Foods that have been part of your routine for years, but beneath the surface, they're throwing off your body's delicate balance of minerals, irritating your nerves, and setting the stage for those sudden, stabbing cramps that steal your sleep, your comfort, and your peace of mind. You don't have to live like this. You don't have to suffer in silence. And once you understand what these foods are, and what to swap them with, your muscles can start healing, your nerves can calm down, and those nights you dread, they can become peaceful again. Let me tell you about Walter. He's 67, spent his life working on cars, strong hands, soft eyes, always the first to offer help. But over the last few years, Walter started getting cramps in his legs every single night. It got to the point where he'd dread bedtime. He tried magnesium, potassium, hydration. Nothing worked. He thought he was just falling apart. Until we took a look at what he was eating, especially in the evening. It turns out, Walter had a habit of ending every dinner with something sweet and comforting. A tall glass of orange juice and a slice of whole wheat toast with jam. Sounds harmless, right? But here's what was really happening. Let's start with food number 1, refined fruit juices. Yes, even the ones labeled 100% real. Orange juice, apple juice, cranberry, they seem natural, even healthy. But what most people don't realize is that these juices strip away the fiber and flood your bloodstream with concentrated fructose. And that spike in sugar doesn't just mess with your insulin, it robs your body of essential minerals. Fructose metabolism requires magnesium to process. So every glass you drink quietly depletes your magnesium stores. And magnesium isn't just some generic mineral. It's the very key your muscles need to relax. Without it, your nerves stay agitated, your muscles tighten unpredictably, and those cramps, they become inevitable. A study in the journal Magnesium Research confirmed that high sugar intake, especially from fruit juices, is directly correlated with decreased magnesium absorption and increased muscle cramps in older adults. And yet, no one warns you. So, we had Walter swap his juice for water with a pinch of pink Himalayan salt and a squeeze of lemon, adding back electrolytes instead of draining them. Within a week, the nightly cramps dropped by half. Within a month, they were nearly gone. Now, let's talk about the second hidden culprit, whole wheat bread. It's often marketed as heart healthy. But for seniors, especially those with blood sugar sensitivity or low-grade inflammation, whole wheat can be more harmful than helpful. The reason? Phytic acid. Whole grains contain phytic acid, an anti-nutrient that binds to calcium, magnesium, and zinc, preventing your body from absorbing them. It doesn't matter how many minerals you eat if your body can't unlock them. And calcium and magnesium, as you know, are the dynamic duo that control muscle contraction and relaxation. When they're off balance, your legs feel it. And then there's the third food, one that hides in nearly every pantry in America, canned soup. Even the low-fat kind. Even the so-called healthy versions. Canned soups are often loaded with sodium chloride, table salt, but they're missing potassium. And that imbalance is deadly for your muscles. Sodium and potassium work like a seesaw. Too much sodium without enough potassium throws off your nerve function, triggers water retention, and sets off misfires in your muscle fibers. A 2018 study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that older adults with high sodium but low potassium intake were twice as likely to experience nocturnal leg cramps. Twice. Not because they were eating bad food, but because the balance was off. So what did Walter do? He swapped his canned soup for homemade broth. Simple ingredients, real vegetables, a pinch of sea salt and herbs. And he added in potassium-rich foods like avocado, spinach, and sweet potatoes. Not pills, just food that nourishes instead of depletes. Now, imagine this. It's 9 p.m. You're sitting in your favorite chair. The TV's on low, and for once, you're not dreading bedtime. You stretch, no tightness, no warning zaps. Just calm, just ease, just trust in your own body again. This isn't a fantasy. It's not reserved for athletes or nutrition experts. It's for you, for anyone willing to look beyond the surface and ask, what is my body really trying to tell me? Because leg cramps aren't just random. They're a message, a signal, a cry for balance that we've been trained to ignore. And when you stop ignoring it, when you truly listen, your body starts responding. Fast. In the next section, we're going to go even deeper. We'll uncover the final 2 foods that silently sabotage your muscles, including one you've probably been told to eat more of. And you'll meet Ruth, 73, sharp as ever, but trapped in a cycle of leg spasms so severe she thought she was having mini strokes. She wasn't. She was just missing one critical truth that almost no one talks about. And once she fixed it, everything changed. So stay with me, because the pain in your legs might be trying to save your life. Ruth's story began the same way so many do. Subtle signs that something wasn't right. A twitch in her thigh as she reached for the top shelf. A tight knot behind her knee when stepping out of the bathtub. She brushed it off. Then, one night, she woke up screaming. Her entire calf had seized like a vice. Her husband thought she was having a stroke. She couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. The cramp eventually passed, but the fear didn't. It started happening every week, then every other night. Doctors gave her muscle relaxers. She tried more water, more stretching. Nothing worked. It wasn't until we looked at her breakfast, the very food she'd been told to trust, that the real cause started to surface. Greek yogurt. Every morning. Ruth was proud of that habit. It's healthy, right? She said. Low fat, high in protein. That's what they say. But here's the twist. While yogurt can be healthy for many people, the kind Ruth was eating was quietly betraying her. Most low-fat flavored yogurts contain high amounts of added sugar and artificial sweeteners, both of which deplete magnesium and spike insulin. And here's what most seniors don't know. Insulin spikes don't just affect your blood sugar. They trigger a shift in how your kidneys handle electrolytes. Every spike pushes more magnesium and potassium out through your urine, leaving your muscles vulnerable, again. But it's not just the sugar, it's the dairy itself. As we age, many of us lose the enzyme needed to properly digest lactose. Even mild intolerance can lead to chronic inflammation in the gut, impairing nutrient absorption. You might be eating calcium and magnesium, but your body can't absorb them. A 2019 study in Frontiers in Nutrition showed that older adults with hidden dairy sensitivities had significantly higher levels of muscle pain and nighttime cramping. Not because dairy is inherently bad, but because the body, over time, changes how it responds. So we had Ruth shift her breakfast. No more flavored yogurt. Instead, a warm bowl of steel-cut oats with pumpkin seeds, sliced banana, and a drizzle of almond butter, naturally high in magnesium, potassium, and slow-digesting carbohydrates. The kind that stabilize blood sugar and give your muscles the minerals they need to stay calm, steady, and strong. She also started adding a small pinch of sea salt to her water in the morning, just enough to support hydration without overdoing sodium. And then something beautiful happened. The cramps stopped, not all at once, but gradually they faded, first 1 week without, then 2. By the 3rd month, Ruth said something that stopped me cold. She said, "I'm not afraid of sleeping anymore." And that's what this is really about, isn't it? Not just fixing a symptom, but reclaiming peace. Because leg cramps aren't just about muscles, they're about fear. The fear of pain. The fear of something being wrong. The fear that your body is betraying you and no one can explain why. But now, you're starting to see the truth. The causes are not invisible, they're just misunderstood. And when you know better, when you eat better, your body responds. There's just one more food we haven't talked about yet. And it might be the most surprising. It's not sweet, it's not creamy, it's not in a can or wrapped in a shiny label. It's coffee. Now, before you throw your mug across the room, hear me out. Coffee isn't the villain. In moderation, high-quality coffee can have benefits. But here's where it becomes a problem, especially after 60. Caffeine is a diuretic. That means it encourages your body to excrete water. And with that water, out go your electrolytes. Magnesium, potassium, sodium, gone. Especially if you're not consciously replacing them. Now, add to that the fact that many seniors drink coffee first thing in the morning, before they've eaten anything. No minerals, no hydration, just caffeine. And then they wonder why by mid-morning their legs feel tight, restless, or weak. Worse still, if you add artificial creamers, sweeteners, or syrups, now you're layering inflammation on top of depletion. A 2020 review in Nutrients highlighted that in adults over 60, caffeine intake above 250 milligrams daily, that's roughly 2 strong cups, was significantly associated with increased incidence of nighttime leg cramps and restless leg syndrome. Not because caffeine is poison, but because it was consumed without balance, without the electrolytes it requires, without the food that grounds it. So we're not saying you have to give up your coffee, but if you start your day with it, be strategic. Drink a tall glass of mineralized water first. Add a pinch of sea salt. Eat a balanced breakfast. Consider switching to half calf. And if you're experiencing cramps regularly, try skipping it for just 5 days. Watch what happens. Your body will tell you everything. Let me introduce you to Charles. 81, former Marine. Still walks 2 miles every morning, rain or shine. But over the past year, he'd begun experiencing cramps in his thighs after sitting too long, watching TV, reading, driving. He chalked it up to age, until we tracked his routine. Turns out, Charles drank 4 cups of coffee a day. No water, no electrolytes, just caffeine and toast. He resisted change at first. "I need my coffee," he said. But I asked him to try one thing. For 5 mornings, no coffee until after breakfast, and 2 glasses of water with a squeeze of lemon and a pinch of salt as soon as he woke up. He called me on the 3rd morning. No cramps. He didn't believe it. He thought it was coincidence. But it wasn't. It was chemistry. Plain and simple, your body is not against you. It's trying to protect you. But it can't do that if it's starved of the raw materials it needs. And those raw materials, potassium, magnesium, calcium, sodium, they're not optional. They're the language your muscles speak. Without them, the signals go haywire, and you pay the price. But now you know. Now you have a map. Now you have choices. And in the final section, we're going to put it all together. We'll show you exactly what a cramp fighting day looks like, from breakfast to bedtime. You'll meet Linda, a 69-year-old who thought she had neuropathy, only to discover that her leg pain was being caused by one food she ate every morning for 20 years. And you'll learn the one surprising mineral that most doctors never test for. But that might be the missing link in your recovery. If you've ever felt betrayed by your own legs, if you've ever lost sleep, lost peace, or lost hope because of cramps that no one could explain, then what comes next might just change everything. Linda was 69 when the cramps began. At first, they came every few weeks, always in the middle of the night, a sharp, twisting pull in her calves that left her breathless and trembling. She'd leap from bed, stomp the floor, stretch, massage. Nothing helped quickly enough. And the next day, she felt like she'd run a marathon in her sleep. Her doctor said it was just age. "Stay hydrated," he told her. "Maybe more magnesium." So she tried supplements, drank more water, cut back on wine, but the cramps didn't stop. Then we looked at her pantry. On the top shelf was a box she'd trusted for years. Whole grain bran flakes. High fiber, heart healthy, doctor recommended. And every morning, like clockwork, she poured a bowl with low-fat milk and half a banana. She believed she was doing everything right. But here's the truth. That breakfast was working against her. And bran cereals are high in insoluble fiber and fortified with synthetic forms of nutrients, especially calcium and iron. Sounds good, right? But when taken in large amounts, these synthetic additives can bind to magnesium in your gut and block its absorption. Even if you're taking a supplement later in the day, your morning bowl may be canceling it out. Worse, her banana, though rich in potassium, was being paired with dairy, which further complicates magnesium absorption for many people over 60. And the kicker? Her cereal was also loaded with added sugar and preservatives, inflaming her gut and further reducing mineral uptake. Within 2 days of cutting it out, Linda noticed something. Her legs didn't twitch at night. By the end of the week, no cramps. And for the first time in months, she slept through the night without fear. That's how fast the body can respond when we stop interrupting its healing. That's the power of subtraction. Not just adding more pills, more routines, more supplements, but removing what's silently interfering. So, what does real change look like? It looks like a morning glass of water with a squeeze of lemon and a pinch of sea salt. Simple, powerful, and immediately restorative. It looks like a warm, mineral-rich breakfast. Sautéed spinach with eggs cooked in olive oil, a small baked sweet potato, or overnight oats soaked with chia seeds, almonds, and a dash of cinnamon. It looks like noticing, not rushing. Sitting with your food, chewing slowly, letting digestion begin in calm, not chaos. It looks like replacing that artificial creamer with unsweetened coconut milk, switching from boxed cereal to real, whole food, and understanding that the body doesn't ask for perfection, only consistency. If you're still unsure, still wondering how something so small can have such a big impact, think of your muscles like messengers. Every cramp is a letter, a warning, a whisper from your body saying, I need something. Not just water, not just rest, but balance. Real, foundational balance. Because leg cramps, when they become chronic, are never just about legs. They're about circulation, about mineral loss, about inflammation and absorption, and cellular signals that get crossed when the body's too depleted to run clean. And for so many seniors, these signals are misread, covered with creams, ignored with Advil, treated like inevitable signs of aging. But now, you know the truth. The cramps are not the end. They're the beginning. The body's invitation to listen again. And it's not too late. In fact, there's something beautiful about making this change now, because you're not chasing youth. You're building strength, the kind that holds you steady on the stairs, that lets you rise from a chair without gripping the armrests, that gives you the confidence to garden again, travel again, or simply stretch without bracing for pain. One simple shift, one food removed, one mineral restored. That's all it takes to begin. And from there, momentum builds. A body that wakes up with fewer aches. A day without the dread of another cramp waiting for you under the covers. A night of sleep where you feel safe, soft, and supported. Because here's the truth the world rarely says out loud. You don't have to accept discomfort as your new normal. You don't have to normalize pain just because a calendar turned a page. And your body, even now, is rooting for you. Every cell, every nerve, every muscle. They're not aging to fail you. They're adapting, asking for something different, something more aligned with the wisdom you've earned. So, tomorrow morning, take a moment before you reach for the usual. Look at your breakfast. Ask yourself, is this fueling my strength or feeding the cramp? Is this nourishing my nerves or numbing them with additives, preservatives, or imbalances I can't feel until it's too late? And if the answer makes you pause, even just a little, that pause is your first step back toward power. Because the solution isn't buried in some secret pill or expensive therapy. It's right there, in the kitchen, on your plate, in your cup. You already have what you need. The knowledge, the tools, the chance. All that's left is the decision. So go to bed tonight not with fear of the cramp, but with trust in your body, with a commitment to make one better choice in the morning, just one, because that's how healing starts. Quietly, gently, consistently. And before you know it, you're not just free from the cramp, you're free to live again. Stronger, calmer, clearer. Because this is what your mornings were meant for.